Dear candidates, I welcome you all on behalf of the Staff Selection Commission and wish you very best for your skill examination. I am here to dictate you a passage of 800 words at speed of 90 words per minute. But before that, you will be given two trial passages of 1 minute each at interval of 20 seconds to get you acquainted with my voice. After completion of two trial passages, your actual passage will automatically start after 30 seconds without any further intimation or warning. These two trial passages need not be typed in your actual transcription. You can also cross them to avoid any sorts of confusion. 10 seconds to start. Often, the states make complaints against the central government for not paying attention towards their financial needs and for providing them the required financial resources, and as a result of which development projects remain incomplete. Basically, it is the government of states which are responsible for making development in their states, and in order to fulfill this obligation they need money. States have been presenting their case before Finance Commission, and the financial resources are distributed accordingly, and this thing is clearly mentioned in the constitution also. In the election manifesto, you have said that the right to work would be a constitutional right. What steps did you take to convert that promise into reality? How many extra jobs were created? So it was not only a political rhetoric, but it was a concrete dishonesty. Look at what you promised in the election manifesto and what was there in the president's speech. What followed after the president's speech is systematic running away from the election promises, and ultimately we ended up with no plan. You created sufficient situation for the next government of 9 months not to get off the ground so far as the plan processes are concerned. The term unity in diversity refers to the state of togetherness or oneness in spite of the presence of huge diversity. Unity in diversity is based on the concept where the individual or social differences in physical attributes, skin color, caste, creed, cultural and religious practices, etc., are not looked upon as a conflict. Instead, these differences are looked upon as varieties that enrich society and the nation as a whole. Unity in diversity is a very important principle because we all live in a diverse world. It is crucial to respect each other and support each other no matter what our culture, background, gender, orientation, or other differences may be. India is a land of unity in diversity. It is a vast country with numerous variations in races, cultures, languages, and even geographical features. In many countries of the world, major geographical features divide international borders. Example, Nepal and China are separated by Himalayas. However, in India, we have learned to live in diversity and our geographical features further solidify this bond. The Punjab region is known for being one of the most potent agricultural lands on earth. The northern mountainous region has come across different people and different languages. This bill does not form part of what is called the Hindu Code series of bills. Nevertheless, it is connected with the various changes that are sought to be brought about so that it may be considered, broadly speaking, a part of that approach. During that last many years, this House and its predecessors, have been considering this matter in various forms. At least one, two, or three occasions I gave an assurance to this House that we shall expedite this matter, but somehow or other my assurance did not produce much effect on the situation, and in spite of our wishes there has been delay. It is true that in a matter of this kind one cannot rush, and one has to give every consideration to various viewpoints in this house as well as outside. Nevertheless, it is rather unfortunate that there has been such considerable delay. Therefore, it is a matter of peculiar satisfaction to me that we are at last coming to grips with these problems in the shape of this bill and one or two others that will follow. I am not a scholar enough to discuss the niceties of Hindu law, but I have dabbled in some broad studies of law and custom and history and cultural developments. My own conception of Hindu society has been that it is essentially dynamic, not static and unchangeable. Indeed, the mere fact that it has lasted a long time is due to a certain dynamism which has enabled it to adapt itself to changing conditions. Gradually, Hindu society became rather static through the hardening of the caste system and in various other ways. This process was spread over hundreds of years, and the final seal was set upon it with the advent of British government in this country. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, the House is just now considering the
situation arising out of the closure of the Banaras Hindu University. It has been suggested that this closure was the result of a certain atmosphere prevailing in the students' community, not only in Banaras Hindu University but in the universities all over the country. This raises, sir, a very big issue, the issue of discipline among students. The question naturally arises as to who is responsible for this discipline going down. Sir, I would resist the temptation in this debate of going into the various factors that are responsible for discipline among the students going down. If it has gone down to the extent which has been stated by the previous speaker, at any rate, sir, I am not prepared to believe that it is only mysterious influences that are suddenly operating in our student community and the so-called political agitators are the only culprits in this matter. If we go on harping on these influences, we will not be in a position to analyze the situation exactly, and we will not be in a position to the very root of the matter which vegetates and certainly does vegetate. The situation in our universities is very bad. But as I said, we are considering today a situation that has arisen as a result of the closure of the Banaras Hindu University, and unless it is made out that the situation in the university is worse than the situation in other universities as far as students' indiscipline is concerned, this particular factor can not unnecessarily be harped on. There may be deterioration in the student discipline, but that is all India phenomenon. Fortunately for this country, we don't find all universities being closed down in this way.